Welcome, everybody, to the league. It is now the end of the regular season. We are into the playoffs, first round of the playoffs, aka Wildcard weekend. Usually the craziest time of the year. And let's go over a little bit about last week. Again, we were only really focusing on three teams: the Voyagers, the Finesse, and the Charleston Trolls. They were the only ones that had not been decided their fate, even though the Voyagers pretty much had a 99 point whatever percent to make the playoffs. They won in dramatic fashion over the current leading West clinching Cavaliers by 70 points. They beat the brakes off of them and could have beaten them even worse. Could have, I think, broken the league record for points had had I started Addison. But it's the way she goes. The Finesse though, and the Trolls. That shit was close, coming down to the wire. And even though the Finesse won, all they had to do was win, and they were in regardless. The Finesse only beat the Titans Elite by less than 4 points. And the reason that's significant is that the Trolls only lost by a point and a half. And the Trolls needed to not get outscored by about 40 something points. And whatever that total was, pretty much if the teams were swapped, as in if the Quailmen, I'm sorry, if the Trolls had scored what the Quailmen had scored and vice versa with the Titans Elite and the Finesse, the Trolls would be in the playoffs by like 1 point right now. If the Trolls had won by the same score that the games are, and the Finesse had lost by the same score, I think the Trolls would be in the playoffs by like a point, which would have been fucking crazy because both teams would have been 7-7. And Trolls limping into the playoffs could have been deadly. Who knows? But now that they are the clear, well, I wouldn't say clear, but they're the highest seeded team going into the losers bracket, aka the lowest seed, because it's basically like reverse town down there. So they have the technical hardest path to get that Phantom first, aka the 13th round. Not 13th round, the 13th overall pick. Onto the winning side, yeah, the Voyagers and the Finesse both clinch. They both play each other this week. The Dumpster Fire will travel to Guantanamo to take on the Gorillas in a rematch that I think everyone is excited for because the last time these two, you know what, we'll get into that in a little bit. The Cameron Cavaliers and the Long Island Rune Dogs have clinched their respective divisions, both of them getting double-digit wins on the year. The Rune Dogs at 12-2, and everyone's just kind of like, meh, they should have done better, almost. And the Cavaliers are over here at 10-4, like, wow, how the fuck did they get here? But honestly, the most surprising team to me this year um, has got to be the Guantanamo. Well, besides the Cavaliers, I mean, obviously, but the Guantanamo Gorillas, man, they were in the thick of all of that bullshit in the South during 4 or 5 game a month and a half ago. All of those teams had like the same record basically, and then here and there, the Gorillas would get a win, and a couple other teams would lose in the South, and they just slowly started making ground. And then they had the crazy game with the dumpster fire that we're going to get into later, and really they feel that they should also be 10-4 um, with the Cameron Cavaliers. However, uh, they would not have had a bye anyways. Where had they been 10-4, since the Cavaliers have scored almost about 80 points more on the season than the Gorillas, but hey, they got a home field advantage, right? That makes that matters, but Yeah, once again, the West is showing why the West is the West. It is a buzzsaw over here, and the East again is just so top heavy that they just demolish the teams in, on at the bottom. And then the South is the South. Everyone's got the same fucking record, and it's all shit. So this year looked like it was going to be completely opposite of what it's been in the past, and it has been. But at the same time, it's you know, the more things change, you know how it goes. Let's get into the matchups. Matchup number one, aka losers bracket. First matchup, you got the Tampa Bay Tiger Sharks at the Charleston Trolls. Last week, the Tiger Sharks fell victim to the Gorillas by 3 points. They fought their asses off for no reason at all, just for pride's sake, and came out short on a last-second field goal. And that's just been the story of the Tiger Sharks this year. On the other side, the Trolls, kind of the same thing, fight for their lives for the playoffs. They needed a win, they needed some help, and they come up short against the Quailmen, who 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 started Eckler at flex when the guy's on bye and on IR. And Nick Bosa, who was out for the game, and Sauce Gardner, who was out for the game. And the Trolls still lost. Micah Parsons did not show up, and Antoine Winfield, I don't know what happened to him. He get hurt. Maybe. Yeah, it looks like he got hurt before he got at any point. So, story of the Trolls this year, just injuries, man. So these are two teams that just want some fucking good luck to come their way. And that Phantom First could really, really, really come in handy. And while we're on the topic of it, while we're on the subject, let me go ahead and I want to look and see who's got, say, what picks. Let's see. Because the Tiger Sharks, they've only got next year's draft. They've got, blah, 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 where the fuck are they? They've got a third, 3/4, and 3/5. So they've got all late round picks. They got a lot. So they have a good amount of, let's say, tiny ammunition to move up. They would probably have to package probably at least four of those picks to move up somewhere into the maybe early third or second round. So even with all of those picks, you know, it's hard to move those. But if they can maybe get up there. But that's why they need this Phantom First, because that would really help out and solidify this team, I think, because they're on the comeuppance. But that that South Division, man, it's just every year it's just somebody fucking different. On the other hand, you got the Trolls, who are looking pretty good draft capital wise. Actually, no, wait, I'm sorry. They're looking pretty good. They're looking okay. They have the finesse first round pick next year, which is at least a seventh or the number 7 pick, which I think if the finesse lose, it would be the number 7 pick. But that pick gets worse if the finesse win, obviously. And that's all they have next year, the Trolls. So they have the latter half of the first round pick. So the Phantom First for them could really, really help. And honestly, just for a healthy fucking body. But yeah, this game right now has not kicked off yet. Obviously, it is 0 to 0. It says the Trolls are going to win by 2 touchdowns, but I don't know. I think it's going to be a lot closer than the experts think. Both of these teams came up really short. They lost by a combined 4 points. So both of these teams are coming in a little bit pissed off. Trolls maybe more a little bit pissed off than the others, but you know, they're not just playing for shits and gigs now. This is for, you know, a very, very valuable asset that could be that number 13 pick. But who knows? Could be a fucking bust. But both of these teams are going for it. But I don't know. I feel like the Tiger Sharks might come up big in this one. They are going to be wearing their baby blues this week as they travel on up to Charleston, where the head coach of the Tampa Bay Tiger Sharks had lived and coached in the past. So we'll see what that means come losers bracket time. Matchup number 2 in the losers bracket. You got the Midlands Mothmen at the French Quarter Quailmen. Mothmen, Quailmen, tale as old as time, well, about 1 year. The score is 14-13 Mothmen at the end of the first quarter. Both of these teams have been eliminated for well, not a while, but it seems like a while. Taking a look what they could do with their pick. The Mothmen are, I think, the clear favorites to take this pick. However, we've seen this team just choke out of nowhere, so you never know. But the Mothmen have a first, 2 seconds, a third, 2 fourths, and a fifth in this upcoming draft. So they're sitting pretty good draft-wise. Most of those picks are all of their own, so they will be drafting earlier. Or in the first half of the rounds. I can't remember the order exactly. The Quailmen, man, they need like another miracle like they had, but they're kind of building it up again like they did a few years ago. They're almost like what's that fucking geyser? Old Faithful or whatever. But with Dan, it's like every 3 or 4 years he just loads up on all these picks, and this coming season he's got 2 first rounders. He's got his own, and he's got the Titans Elite pick, which is a guaranteed top 4 pick. So the Quailmen have already got 2 guaranteed picks in the top 6. So if the Quailmen can win this tournament somehow, they can have 3 basically in the 3rd round to go on top of their 2nd round pick that they have, a 3rd, and 3 fourths and 2 fifths. So they have a shitload of picks. So this extra first would honestly just give them a lot of ammunition to move up and get some more high-profile guys, depending. We'll see. But this game, I've got the Mothmen. I think they're just too good, and I think they're just going to overpower the Quailmen. And the Quailmen have had some coaching troubles as of late, it seems. But it looks like they got their lineup in check this week. We'll see what happens going forward in this game. Let's get on to the winners brackets. First matchup in the West. Winner goes on to play, well, the champion of the West. Well, I don't know. Is it the champion of the West? I guess, yeah. The champion of the West, the Cameron Cavaliers. But we got the LA Finesse at the Vietnam Voyagers, and these teams just fucking played each other 3 weeks ago, where the Voyagers beat the Finesse by 4 points, 158 to 154. And right now the Voyagers are up 22 to 4 at the end of the first quarter, but it's still saying that there's only a 1-point spread in this game. This is going to be another nail biter. It's all going to come down to oh man, it's got to come down to Jordan Addison and Travis Kelce for both teams, and Patrick Mahomes. I mean, they're playing Cleveland, right? They should put up a shitload, but again, Patrick Mahomes has only put up over 20 points twice this season. He's been solid. He's going to get you 15 points every fucking game if that's what you want. And that's maybe all this team needs. On the other side, you got Jared Goff, who he is pretty boom or bust, but he's better than Jordan Love. This is going to be a close game. You know, the Voyagers looked dead about a month ago, and then they won 3 out of their last 4, 4 out of their last 6, whatever it was, and the Finesse just kept holding on to that number 2 spot pretty much all year until they lost it right there at the end of the year. So the Finesse actually are finished 3rd in the West, and the Voyagers are ahead of them. So that's why the Finesse are flying out to Vietnam. Obviously, I have to go with the Finesse on this one, but this is a fucking toss-up game. Bucky Irving is questionable. That could be huge because he only got 2 points last week because of that shit. If he can play the whole game, I think the Voyagers can win this one. Not handily, but comfortably. But if not, it's going to be a bad day. And if Addison shits the bed, Jonnu Smith is going to start. So the first time the Voyagers are starting 2 tight ends in the playoffs, it's going to happen. Nuke Hopkins is getting benched, unless I have a last-minute fucking thought. But I don't know. Let's get on to the big game. Woo! You got both of these teams are this game is nuts. You got the 9-4-1 Columbia Dumpster Fire at the 9-4-1 Guantanamo Gorillas. One of these teams have won their division. The other is a former champion and did not win their division. I'm sorry, not a former champion, the current champions. And these teams are so fucking closely matched. The only big difference is obviously when you look at it in the charts is the points for. Everyone looks at this Guantanamo Gorillas team and say, how in the fuck are they 9-4-1? And they think they pretty much should have been 10-4. And they've scored basically 350 points fewer than the Columbia Dumpster Fire. Now, to be fair, the Dumpster Fire and the Rune Dogs have outscored pretty much everybody in the league by at least 200 points. But still, the Gorillas don't even lead. You know, they're barely beating the Quailmen in points for, and the Tiger Sharks have more points than the Gorillas. The Tiger Sharks are 4 games back on them. So everyone is wondering, how is this Gorillas team doing it? And people say it's luck. I think it's playing good matchups and starting the right guys, which this team has had a problem with in the past. They had a problem with it earlier this season, but if you go and look at their last 6 weeks of work for this Gorillas team, they've had very good starting lineups. The coach is putting in the right guys at the right times, and they're getting the most out of their players, and they're getting wins. And if this was Joe, no one would be saying shit right now. Everyone would be like, oh yeah, it's Joe Ball, yada yada. But since it's the Gorillas, everyone's got to be up in arms saying, oh, it's luck. I don't know, man. The Gorillas are 9-4-1 for a reason, and again, pretty much should be 10-4. But hey, whatever, But this Dumpster Fire team, they've been here before. They know what to do in the playoffs. They've been, they're saying, hey, you should be 10-4. We should be 2-time champs. So both of these teams are playing with, I wouldn't say chips on their shoulders. I mean, the Dumpster Fire are current champs, but they don't want to just win one. They want all of them. And right now, the Dumpster Fire are up 12-4. Did I read the scores wrong earlier? I did. Sorry, the Voyagers game is 22-3. Sorry, they didn't get 2 safeties. The Gorillas got 2 safeties. It's 12-4 into the first Dumpster Fire, and it's giving the Dumpster Fire a 3 touchdown lead. and I might have to agree with it. After Brock Purdy and this again, everything I just said about this team starting the right guys, this may this may be the one that costs them right here, because I think this Gorillas team has what it takes to take down anybody. But I think starting Brock Purdy in a vacuum is fine. He's been pretty good all year. Has led this Gorillas team to a decent year. However, after the bye, or after he was out, he's just been kind of meh. Yeah, he's had one good game, but you got another guy sitting on the bench in Caleb Williams, who, yeah, looked super rocky, and he still looks really rocky and kind of shitty. However, the last month, the dude's put up 14 or more, or more points a game. And his next game is against Minnesota, who he just played 2 weeks ago, and put up 27, which was his best game out of the last month. He threw 340 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I got to tell you, I watched the game. He looked like pretty much any other slightly mobile quarterback against Minnesota. He just donkey fucks him. And I don't know. You drafted Caleb Williams to play him, I think. And then I don't know. I can understand, but it's not about starting Brock Purdy or Caleb Williams. That's not the argument here. The issue. The issue is starting Brock Purdy on a fucking Thursday. Thursday games are notorious for being shitty. It's one of those things where you only start guys on Thursday if you fucking have to. Or if it's a defensive guy. Defensive guys usually do better on Thursdays because it's usually your sloppier games. But again, even then, it's a Thursday game. You can never predict the shit. Sometimes guys go off like they did last week, but it's a rarity. The only reason that happened last week is because both teams got a week to rest. These guys are tired come Thursday, so they're going to play like shit. I mean, the dumpster fire got Kyron Williams. He got him 12, which is decent, but according to his, average, it's not very good. He's the number 3 running back in the fucking league, and you got Brock Purdy putting up 4 fucking points. I can see the dumpster fire starting Kyron Williams because that's a good running back, and they don't really have any backup running backs to kind of take over that spot. This is a very wide receiver heavy team. They pretty much just run that Texas Tech's offense. But the Gorillas definitely should have started Caleb Williams. Now, if Caleb Williams puts up a goose egg, I'll eat my words. And of course, hindsight, 2020, all that shit. But a Thursday game, playoffs, man. So the Gorillas are going to need A.J. Brown, and the other Brown, and their newly acquired guy, Zay Flowers, that hasn't really done much for them since getting traded. I think it's his time to shine. If not, this team is fucking done. But, I mean, these guys played before, and it was a tie. So this should be a good one. All right, I've been rambling about this game. I'm excited about this one. Let's get on to the predictions. It's basically my picks, just because no one did them. So whatever. Yeah, I'm going to take the Tiger Sharks over the Trolls. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Graydon and Chunks last week for going 3-3. So we went 55-29 in the regular season, 66%. Very good. But yeah, so I got the Tiger Sharks over the Trolls. I got the Mothmen over the Quailmen. I got my own Voyagers over the Finesse, and the Dumpster Fire over the Gorillas. But it is the end of the regular season. And with the end of the regular season comes the end of golf. And last week, or this last hole 14, man, and guys, I mean, this is what it looks like, all right, to do golf. That's what it looks like every week. Just manic writings. But so there wasn't a lot of movement at the top. I will say this. Mandy got 2 bogeys, unfortunately, so she's out. Hunter got 4 birdies. I got 4 birdies, but also 2 bogeys. Dan got 2 birdies, 2 bogeys. Graydon got a couple of bogeys. E-Man evened out. Rico got a bogey. Matt got a birdie. Joe got a bogey. And Sam got a birdie. But the 2 guys at the top, P-Man and Chunks. Chunks was sitting at 17 under. P-Man was sitting at 16 under last week. And this week, they just decided to not even fucking play it. Chunks is the winner of golf. Yeah, but congratulations, Chunks. Matt will get you the goal line Stein whenever. You know, you guys live right next to fucking each other, so you can do it pretty much at any time. But it is yours. Again, like I said, new guy in the league wins golf, which is tough, and won their division, has a bye in the first round. Yeah, end of the year awards are going to be fun. But some fun golf facts, guys. Where the fuck are they? That I noticed. Where am I? From last year. Just in case you give a shit. Matt won last year, obviously, at 17 under par. Chunks won this year, 17 under. Hunter was second place at 15 under last year. P-Man at 16 under this year. Rico was last place last year with 12 over. Sam finished at 9 over. So, getting better as a whole, it seems. Yeah. Because last year it was split half and half, under and over. This year, we got 6 people under, 5 over, and Graydon sitting at even par. Yeah, good shit, everybody. Again, if you are wondering about the golf scores and how they work, I don't use the sleeper app much at all unless I'm checking shit when I'm not at home. I usually use the computer version of it, and the awards or whatever weekly report is different from the one on the phone. I compare the two. The one on the computer is more like concrete, like better stats that don't change. It'll always award a bogey or not, whereas the app, it'll change sometimes and fuck up the scores. But yeah, so if you're wondering about that shit, and if you want proof, I got every stroke right here. But yeah, good shit, Chunks. Yeah, I didn't change the fucking thing here, guys. I didn't fucking feel like it. You know. Yeah, I'm fucking excited. I'm excited for these games. Good luck to Hunter and Matt in their game. Good luck to, you know, the Mothmen, Quailmen, Trolls, and Tiger Sharks down there in the Phantom First bracket. E-Man, good luck. You gonna need it. And cheers to Chunks and Mandy. They just sit back and start whoever they want and watch the fucking chaos. They get a week off. So, yeah. Cheers, guys. Good luck, and I will see you next week.